We have to get back to nature. The more healthy and natural products we eat, the healthier we become. Hello, this is Terry Bell with another edition of Herb Doc. Hello, this is Terry Bell with another edition of Herb Doc. Today I'm going to be talking about a newborn, a baby. The woman is pregnant now, and the toughest thing I ever found when I went to Ontario was getting women pregnant. I'm not bragging or anything, but I got more women pregnant in Ontario than all these guys did in Selkirk. With herbs, of course. And amazing amount of women cannot get pregnant. I don't know what's wrong with Ontario, but everybody in town here seems to get pregnant that shouldn't get pregnant, and down there they're paying thousands of dollars to get pregnant with in vitro. We will go through today now, the woman's pregnant, and what does she go through? They go through a lot of things, horrible things, that guys cannot imagine. A woman is pregnant. That's why you should respect her. I see a guy hits his wife, you know, I could see if she's not doing the dishes on time or something. But for nothing. And you hear that all the time. A woman should be really, really respected, because every time they get pregnant, they take their life into their own hands. In fact, if a woman is drooling when she's pregnant, they should watch her very carefully, because either the baby or her could lose their life. That's a known thing from old midwives. If they start drooling, you got to get them in there and find out what's down and what's happening to the body and why they're depressed and everything. Okay. This is Kent, and he's from Regina. He's a very good tester. He became a fourth-class Sho-Tai practitioner. What got you into Sho-Tai, by the way?
What got me into Sho-Tai was, again, as I explained to you last time I was on the show, was my family had gotten really sick, mainly my dad. He had gone to doctors, had gone to psychiatrists, psychologists, trying to figure out what was going wrong with him. And they all couldn't give him a straightforward answer. So he went and he saw a herbalist, a Sho-Tai practitioner, and what it turned out was his body was overloaded with toxins, mainly from our foods, and what he was picking up in his environment from his job place. So we did the herbs. First he cleansed, then repaired, and then he went on maintenance. And to this day, hasn't been back to a doctor in over 12 years, has great health, never gets sick, doesn't have an ache or pain. He's in his late 40s. So he's doing well. Then I got on the herbs myself, and I started feeling better and better and better. So I decided, like, what's up with this? Everybody's getting well, taking these nutrition. So what's this with nutrition? So I had to one day get into this to discover for myself.
Okay, when we start off right here, do you love it?
Oh yeah.
You love it?
Yeah, and helping people get well, and when you see them start getting well, you gotta get like a high off it.
Okay, now I know you're in it for the health and not for the money. Some people, they're worried about every cent. Even when they're muscle testing on their arm, they go house payment, car payment, food and laundry.
Yeah.
You know, instead of thinking, I got to get this person well, no matter what, and it's an excess of one or a deficiency of another.
Yeah.
So right here, she's pregnant now, and the baby gets turned sideways in the womb. You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
A woman went swimming at the beach, and she got the baby jammed, and when she got off of the she started screaming and yelling in pain and everything else.
Yeah, it's quite common.
And you know what? They have to rush them to the doctor and they have to try to figure this out. What would you do in that case?
Well,
as a herbalist?
It's interesting, because what you can do is you could take them into a dark room, turn the lights off, and then you can get them to lift their shirt over their belly, and you can shine a flashlight onto their belly and start moving it in a clockwise circle, and the baby will actually start to follow the light and just straighten itself right back out. And midwives have done this for a long time.
Yes, I know one of my customers in Saskatoon, she said it was such a miracle. I thought, what an idiot, over the phone when I was telling her. Take the flashlight, stick it on, and let the baby fall. And on the second time, it went around and went plunk, back into place. So you could say the baby finally seen the light. But so they're that smart, not even born yet. They're already thinking ahead, you can tell that.
Yeah.
So even from the time it's conceived, that baby has life. Okay, the baby is stuck. The water's broke, but the baby won't come out. What could a herbalist do? Not a doctor, they got a lot of things to do. What could a herbalist do?
So what we could get them to do is, if this does happen, they can start taking a B complex every 15 minutes. And what that does, it ignites the adrenals, which produces the fluid to lubricate so the baby can come out.
Oh, okay. So you're right about that too. A couple of people, I told them start taking B complex, and they couldn't believe that the baby come out really quick without ripping and tearing a woman.
Yeah.
The worst thing you could see, I went into the operating room and my wife's having the baby. Oh, it's not coming fast enough. Snip, snip with the scissors. Oh, because you're not a doctor, you'll feel that, eh? But that's what they have to do. If the body, better to cut it than it ripped when they come out. The next one here, for easier and quick delivery. You can take herbs for quick delivery, easy delivery, no pains, cramps, or anything else. Do you know of any that you would use?
Yes, red raspberry, or a product called red raspberry, because it builds the uterine lining, but it also balances all the iron, so they pick up all their oxygen.
Okay, here's another one. Babies, they want the baby to come early. And some women will use castor oil. They'll take an ounce of castor oil every 15 minutes and force that baby if it's past the date. A herb for that would be blue cohosh is another one. It can cause the baby to come right away. But that's not always a safe thing to do, force the baby to come early. So here, should a baby breastfeed? Should a baby breastfeed nowadays with all the technology? Why would a baby breastfeed? Isn't that old-fashioned?
Yes, you still got to breastfeed because that milk is identical for what that body system needs to build healthy.
Is it identical for who, the baby?
Yes, it's identical to the baby for what the baby's DNA needs.
Okay, how long should a baby breastfeed? Reality.
Well, at
Women
least
say 3 months, right?
12 months for sure.
Okay.
If you look it up on the internet, you'll find sources say even up to 19 months, but they should do it for at least 12 months.
Okay, and why you said that, because I was at a place in Ontario, and the 2-year-old baby shoved his head under the woman's breast, started sucking her breast while I'm talking to her. Wasn't so bad, he pulled his head out. The 4-year-old did, then the 6-year-old. And you know what, if you go past 19 months, what happens to the kids?
Oh, they can start making them sick. It can start rotting their teeth right out.
Okay, it starts rotting their teeth.
Yeah.
Because that milk is no good.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after this message from our sponsor. Thank you. Hello, my name is Terry Bell, and I'm going to tell you about a nice, wonderful product that I found. This product I took and I give it out to people just to get rid of it. And they would come back in a few months and said, I can't believe how good I digest food now. A lot of people with heartburn. You can get puffed, bloated, gastric, burping, farting may lead to constipation or diarrhea. If you have a digestive problem, and what is in this little product, you're hearing about probiotics all the time, and they cost hundreds of dollars, 60, 70 bucks a month. Over the year, it's going to cost hundreds. This one is very cheap. For a month, about $17. Don't have to refrigerate it, just keep it in the bottle with a meal twice a day. You have heartburn that never quits, you need this product. In fact, we were brought up Mennonite, and if you ever let gas go in church, we had to sit in our own pew. So you know what I'm talking about. Gas is horrible. I even had a customer that came in that every time she walked, she would let gas go. After being on that product for a little while, she said, I can't believe the first month I seemed to get more, and then it disappeared. And what it does, it makes you digest all your products. There's a prebiotic in there, a probiotic, acidophilus, bifidophilus, and friendly bacteria. They're all in one. You don't have to spend a fortune to get well, just 2 capsules a day. See your Sho-Tai practitioner in your area. Look them up, Sho-Tai practitioner, or Google Terry Bell, and they'll tell you who's near you. You can pick those up. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a good meal tonight. Terry Bell back with Herb Doc. I'm here with Kent today from Regina, if you just tuned in, and we're talking about breastfeeding. Okay, and it happened to me in the bank. The woman said, having a good day? I turned around, and a woman took a little cap off of her breast, which I didn't even know existed. Pulled the cap off, and it's for breastfeeding the baby. Her breast was hanging out. She leaned down to pick up the baby. She's from another country. That's no big deal there, eh? To us, it was a real big deal. The woman said, having a nice day? And I said, oh, it's a good day for breastfeeding. Well, I never got so many laughs in the bank, but I never knew that was nothing. To us, if you start breastfeeding in public, that's horrible. People don't even like the fact that somebody's breastfeeding in public. They get upset with it, and they get, even if they put the blanket over. But it says, how long should we were just on the subject of how long you should breastfeed. Not after 19 months, because the bones start to decay in the body. Just like a calf then. A calf at a certain stage has to go to grass, or he will not get the right calcium in his body. Okay? What if mothers can't breastfeed? What if they can't produce milk?
If they can't produce milk, the babies can start to pick up, like if the baby doesn't get breastfed, they can start to pick up more sicknesses later in life. So they can get, if you take people who have things like ALS, muscular dystrophy, MS, take them all, ask them, were you breastfed for at least 12 months? And 95% of the time they'll tell you, no, we weren't. So it's really important that the baby breastfed. And if the mother can't produce it, things she can take to start producing the milk, things like red raspberry and marshmallow, which balance the hormones, chlorophyll, which kicks the iron out of the liver and starts to pick up oxygen, and so that she starts getting the oxygen she needs. A product called silver lining, and what silver lining is an enzyme. It's a prebiotic, a probiotic, acidophilus, bifidophilus, and friendly bacteria. And what all that basically does is builds up the friendly bacteria in your intestines, start breaking down and pulling nutrition out of your foods. There's also a good one called Mama's Milk Stream to start producing the milk. But most of the time, it's just water. They're not drinking enough water.
Okay, and that's true enough, because a lot of people don't drink 4 glasses of water. I start them out on 4, and then all of a sudden, oh, that feels good. I'll go 5, 6. If you say 8, the goal is too far away. So that's what I notice. But you're right about if they don't increase their water, nothing's happening. And they should be taking warm water if you're breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Okay, what kind of milk is best for babies if they're not breastfeeding
If they're not breastfeeding, they could do goat's milk, 2%, or just straight from the old nipple.
Okay, right from the nipple, that's right. You couldn't get it any fresher.
That's right.
Okay, what is enough breast milk? How do you know if the baby's getting enough milk or he's not?
If he's not getting enough milk, he'll start to bite and keep on trying to get more and more. If he's done, he'll just pull away.
Okay, how does a woman increase, like we said, the breast milk?
She could take things like...
and I asked you that before, but there's one other you could take.
Blessed thistle, red raspberry marshmallow.
Okay, how much water, you know a lot of people don't know this, how much water should a newborn baby drink a day?
4 ounces since the time of birth.
So, I mean, if he's only on the nipple, which a lot of people
they still need water.
So how would you get the water into them?
Most people, what they'll do is they'll just take a bottle and they'll add just a drop of corn syrup so that the baby starts to like it. Or else sometimes the baby doesn't want to take it, but he needs that water. So you can just either blend up a strawberry in a little, magic bullet or a little blender, or just add a drop of corn syrup and the baby will start taking it. Okay, 4 drops. That's amazing. 4 ounces a day of water. A lot of people don't do that, and that's why the babies have horrible bowel problems and lung. What if you wanted to stop producing milk? You know, a woman I met the other day, 3 years, and she's still squirting milk out, her chest gets wet. Yeah. So, what would you do to stop it? Well, she can take anything such as sage, caprylic acid, coconut oil, and there's one more. Sometimes I use black walnut. Black walnut, that's the one. And if they leave that, keep on like that, and then they have people called wet nurses, and they're the people that will breastfeed somebody else's baby, but that's not the perfect combination. Okay? Is breastfeeding, one more question before we go, is breastfeeding a good way to keep from getting pregnant? Yes, for years it's been used as a contraceptive for women, so what they'll do is they'll keep breastfeeding for the full 19 months, and most of the time, not always, but most of the time they won't get pregnant during that period. We'll be right back after this message from our sponsor.
Hello, Terry Bell, a Sho-Tai practitioner. I'd like to tell you about an amazing product called bentonite. Bentonite, it's a form of mud. And how they discovered it, they were poisoning the rats, and they thought these rats were incredible. They'd poison them. They'd go down the ground and come back out. They found out how could they still be living? So they shot a few of them, opened them up, and they found out they'd go down the ground and eat bentonite. Bentonite is charged negative, like oxygen, draws poison into it, and they poop it out. So if somebody has an irritable bowel, amazing product for getting rid of irritable bowel, Crohn's or colitis. Somebody has diarrhea. Okay, remember I said you don't want to fart around with that. Diarrhea, that's a horrible problem to have. You have aches and cramps and pains. Bentonite, 2 twice a day. You'll be amazed. Somebody has dry, itchy skin, psoriasis or eczema. I've had many testimonies that they had horrible psoriasis for years, and you'll see some of them posted now on our website. Psoriasis and eczema is gone. Okay, just from bentonite. Food radiation poisoning, and a big one, acne. Acne is a big one. You know, you don't want to put the squeeze on anybody, but if you see a big, ugly pimple, you want to just take the person and squeeze it, give them bentonite. Another thing they could use for acne, beta-carotene. Beta-carotene and bentonite to clean that up. What a good product. Tonight, you want to have bentonite, okay? Maybe he's not your type of guy, but you'll like him. See you again. I just had to say bentonite. Hello, this is Terry from Herbal. I'd like to tell you, some days you don't even feel like yourself. You notice part of me seems like I'm not here. People make jokes like, quit while you're ahead. That's all you see here. And the person doesn't feel good, he feels empty inside. And I can tell you what it is. It's called essential minerals. There's a little bottle here, it's essential minerals. It's 10 times stronger than normal, so you only need 5-10 drops a day. Sometimes that'll last you a year, that bottle. Sometimes it'll last you 6 months, depends how hard you work on yourself. I found out about a thymus problem. And what is a thymus problem? When kids are born, their thymus is over 90. And you could stick a kid in an environment for 2 weeks, stick him into that environment, and he can learn a language in less than 2 weeks because he has to learn that. Some people said it took a month. So what if we could do that? That's because the thymus is open and it's full. Thymus starts to shrink, and you test your thymus. When I test mine, it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 19, 18. It's at 18%. That's quite high. That's smarter than the average person. It's usually at 9. They have a hard time to learn. I start taking this product, and it come up from 9 to 18. I noticed as I'm driving along, I'm remembering phone numbers from all over the place. Phone numbers, old addresses, names, and everything else, just from getting your thymus up. Start taking that mineral, and you feel better and better and better. You only need a dropper full a day. You'll feel better and better. Then instantly, you will start feeling you're back to normal again. Oh, there, that feels better. I feel like I'm myself again. Not part of me is missing. When you don't feel like yourself, you're missing minerals. Grab some essential minerals. This is Terry Bell, back again with Kent, and we're just talking about a newborn baby. And like we said, breastfeeding, people used to breastfeed just to use it as a contraceptive, but it wasn't 100% good. So why would a baby refuse breastfeeding?
It's because the milk is no good. He tastes it, doesn't like it, and he pulls away.
So why would the mother not have good milk?
Because she doesn't have the right herbs and vitamins in her system.
Okay. A lot of women lose their sex drive during marriage. Why?
Yeah, and that's because the quality of their blood goes down. And so they feel tired, they don't want to do anything.
Okay, I'll have to remind the wife of that. I'm married 40 years now, and they'll tell you sure learn a lot of things, and if you don't get the blood back to normal, a woman can be horrible. If a woman is horribly crabby, what can you do to get rid of that?
Yeah. And listen up, guys at home, for this one. L-tyrosine. It's an amino acid that makes you absorb your protein. It's the building blocks of life, and it's known as the happy pill. So some women right away will start noticing a difference after even a few days on that.
Okay, what about if a baby gets constipated? This is a big deal for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, and there's a few things you can do for that. You could start by adding a little bit of magnesium drops to the water, which helps to relax the bowels to let go. You could go aloe vera juice, more water, and again, you could use that corn syrup tricks that they start drinking the water. You could use a suppositor. Some people actually just shave off a piece of soap and stick it up their rear end, or they can even do an enema with warm water and sea salt.
Okay, aloe vera, what is aloe vera?
Aloe vera comes from a plant, and it's all your amino acids, and it makes you absorb your nutrition. It often softens the stools.
Okay, if a baby gets eczema or psoriasis, what does that cause from?
Well, most of the time, it's because of foods. So you got to go back to the foods. You have to clean the bowel and find out what foods are bugging them. So things you can do, you can take aloe vera to clean the bowels, and also helps with the lungs and skin conditions. You can take chlorophyll to build the blood back up, because all that is toxins coming out the skin. Or you could give more vitamin D and get them out in the sun, because when you go out in the sun, it hits the pupils, which signals the pituitary, get the vitamin D to start getting the minerals to repair your system. You could also use the old-time tested method of just bathing them in a cup of milk or with a cup of olive oil.
Okay, what is crib death? You hear that so much, and doctors don't know what it is. Do you know what it is?
Yes, and all that is actually sleep apnea or asthma. They can't breathe in their sleep. So again, going back to wrong foods.
Okay, a baby has ear infection. Another one.
Ear infection, they can fill their ears with colloidal silver or hydrogen peroxide, and what happens, they'll start to fizz, and when the fizzing's gone, then it's done.
The infection's gone?
Yes, then it's killed.
Okay, a baby has a rash on his bum. A lot of people don't even know what to do for that.
Simple one, just aloe vera gel or even just silver gel.
Okay. I'm just going to, so we don't miss this part of it. If kids poop themselves from 2 years old to 16 years old, what's happening?
Wrong foods. So again, so much of it goes back to the wrong foods. You have to check what foods are bugging their system. There was a guy that was going to need a colostomy bag, and they found out it was just wheat that he was eating. When he got off the wheat, he didn't have to go through with it.
Oh, very good, because I had a few customers, they're big kids, about 40, 50, 60, still pooping themselves, and all it was a bad food. Okay, a baby. The baby's back is out.
Okay, well, I got my newborn to demonstrate today.
Right under the table here?
Yeah, so if your baby's back out, what you want to do...
You can tell he's Swedish. And
you want to hang him by their feet with the baby facing you. What will happen? The baby will turn one way and then turn the other, and it will line up his back and neck, because you don't want to be taking your child to a chiropractor at that age. You don't want them cracking or moving everything around. So just by hanging them by their legs, and they'll move to side, they'll line everything right back up.
So the gravity will actually do that, eh?
Yeah.
So what if they're choking? What would you do? You know, in a case where they're choking, they always take the baby, hang him upside down, and you don't go bang like this. Of course, everything's going to come out, right? Unless he isn't listening. You just tap lightly on the back, and the body will let go whatever they're choking of. And never leave the kids like that for the weekend. Okay? You see people rough with children? It's hard to believe. Okay, now just right here, why are kids, all of a sudden, somebody's kids are completely rangy, and next day they're normal?
Okay, that's because of all the sweets and sugars in their diet. So what it does is it eats up their minerals, it makes them feel all claustrophobic, and it drives their acid up, so it steals the oxygen from their blood, and they're always feeling they gotta be moving around, trying to get that oxygen.
Oh, okay. That is really good, because a lot of kids have sweets.
Yep.
And then the
Too
second
much.
they have it, they get crazy because it eats the magnesium, and they get out of control. Here I got baby with a tantrum. Do you hear kids take a tantrum? Just before we go?
So all you got to do is hold them by their arms like this and then wait. Sometimes it takes 15, 20 minutes, but eventually they'll stop. Just holding them just by their arms like this.
And what does that do? Detain them? Or
yes, it makes them feel like they can't be moving around and doing anything, and they calm right down.
And I seen in one of the books they say, or on the internet, hold them for 30 minutes no matter what happens, and that tantrum will disappear from them for good. You know, we are running out of time, and this was really a good interview. A lot of people don't know that about a baby, a newborn baby. They just stiff it out, or they just make do, and it can wreck your marriage. If your kids are horrible, at what age should you spank a kid then?
About 3 years.
What age should you stop spanking them?
Well, when they start getting a bit older.
Okay, 21? Okay.
I think in their teens is fine.
Okay. I just had to ask you that. Okay. This is Terry Bell. Thank you for joining us for this program on newborn babies. A lot of people don't even know that stuff about newborn babies or the mothers. How to handle your wife if she's out of control, and you don't have to handle her physically. It's just usually an excess of one, wrong food, or a deficiency of another that makes a person sick or depressed, bitchy, or crabby. Thank you very much. Saying goodnight, Terry Bell.